Hi, everybody. Welcome back to week 374, 63 million of the CCC. We are happy to have you guys drinking with us as always. Well, actually, today we're going to be exploring a classic, an easy classic, actually. It sounds really fancy, but it's really easy, right?
It's probably the easiest drink we've ever made.
Potentially the easiest drink, but there's complexity in its simplicity.
Okay, I'll go with that.
They say the easiest drinks are the hardest drinks to make well, right? Because there's not a lot of room for error.
Right, true. Right, it's like a par 3 in golf, as I'm sure you can relate to.
Totally. I was literally just going to say that. Like,
I mean, it looks easy, 125 yards straight ahead, and somehow you double bogey it. I mean, not me, but.
I mean, double bogey all the time. Like that.
Hey, what's with that shirt?
Check out our shirts, you guys. These are so awesome.
That's pretty cool.
We got matching No Shitty Cherries shirts. This is our motto on the COVID Cocktail Club. And if you guys want them, I will put the link up so you guys can get your own No Shitty Cherries t-shirt. Don't go for the shitty cherries.
Limited edition too, by the way.
Right.
Only found in one place for now.
What for now?
Until they're at Cool Linscomb next week.
Right. Until then, they are only at www.mommymixology.net.
So no, these are fun.
They are fun. I like my little V-neck, but they're also available in regular scoop neck. The women's you can get in V-neck or scoop neck because I couldn't decide. And they have to be black t-shirts because that's all I wear.
Although I have to say, not that you can tell on the screen, but it's like a charcoaly black. It's not black, which actually like this is better. It feels less like an old concert t-shirt, a much cooler, more updated shirt. Good fit too. Enough talk about t-shirts. I think we should get into our drink for the day.
Which is a Japanese highball.
Which is pretty much what it sounds like. It's Japanese whiskey in a highball glass. And that's it. I mean, some topo, club soda, but at the end of the day, it's, as you said earlier, it's pretty simple. I mean, clearly you don't want to, if you're going to make it a Japanese highball, you're not going to use Jack Daniels. So this needs to be a Japanese whiskey.
No whiskey soda. This is no bar mitzvah whiskey soda.
No, not at all. And you're going to find as we talk through some of the details, whether it's the type of glass, whether it's even the temperature of the glass we're going to talk about, the type of ice you use, this is what separates it from your bar mitzvah, your bad wedding whiskey soda that you've had for years.
The first big thing is that you need to use a Japanese whiskey if you want it to be a true Japanese highball. And the Japanese whiskeys seem to be all the rage right now, mainly because I think of a supply-demand thing. People realized they were cool, but by that point, they hadn't produced quite as much of them as they expected to need. And because they have to age, they can't just produce more.
Right.
There's more coming down the pipeline, but in the meantime, you can pick up one of these bad boys for not too much. I mean, what did you spend on it?
40. This is the Tito's of Japanese whiskey out there. And I say that meaning it's good quality. It's not the finest quality. There's some really expensive Japanese whiskeys out there, but like Tito's, it's good. You can use it for multiple cocktails, but this particular cocktail, if you were to Google Japanese highball, you will find that even though there are $200 Japanese whiskeys out there, they all point to Suntory.
Yeah, I think this one was like the quintessential Japanese whiskey for it. But Japanese whiskeys, I read, like unlike like an American bourbon, they're very delicate and a little bit floral and fruity. So this may also be really a good whiskey for you if you're not super into whiskey yet and you're trying to get there. It's a nice, I think, way of easing into it because it's a much more subtle whiskey. I've also done old fashions with him before. It's really nice.
I was going to say, I mean, even just looking at the bottle, you can look and see how clear it is. It's just a lighter. The other thing that's I find refreshing about this, no pun intended, is that when you think about refreshing cocktails this time of year, you think about agave. So whether it's tequila or mezcal, you think about gin and tonics, pretty much anything with vodka, vodka soda, et cetera. But you rarely think about any type of whiskey as a portion of a refreshing cocktail, right? So I think this is refreshing in that you can actually use a whiskey and still get a crisp, light, refreshing cocktail, one that you could drink by the pool. Don't say it. The other thing I read about this that I found interesting was because it's very light and it's crisp, unlike a lot of cocktails that I tend to talk about that are either really good by the pool but not good at dinner, they talk about this is actually a great drink to have with a meal.
Yes, I also read, since it is all the rage in Japan, they actually have them like in cans, like canned highballs. If you're gonna have a whole big bunch of them, this is a good one for it.
And available on tap in many places in Japan.
Yeah. And it's actually the original skinny cocktail. If you're on Weight Watchers or watching your calories, this bad boy is a winner.
Note, this episode is not sponsored by Weight Watchers. I have to say that out loud.
But it should be.
It should be.
Should we make it?
We should make it. Now you'll notice we're missing glasses, but this is not by accident. Our glasses are chilling. So unlike what we typically do, like a coupe glass or Nick and Nor will chill it out here, we actually have our glasses. Well, mine's in my ice maker. Is yours an ice maker or freezer?
Yes, mine is also in my ice maker.
So just, again, this drink is about that everything sort of being perfect.
Everything has to be just right.
Yes.
So of paramount importance here is
Good
that,
word.
what?
Good word.
Thank you. That your glass be very, 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 very ice cold. This was said numerous times in all the research that we found. This has to be cold, in a cold glass.
All right, so 2 ounces of your Japanese whiskey. Now we are purposely putting the whiskey in first. Normally, if you were to put in ice, which you can do, but if you do that, then you do risk melting or diluting the drink a bit when you pour the whiskey over the ice.
Putting the liquid over the ice does help the ice get a little bit more clarity to it, but I think that we'll achieve that with the soda.
Yep, but let's add ice now because our club soda is cold.
Since this is a highball, I don't think it's necessary to use a large format ice cube, but if you do have something clear, that would be nice.
Yeah, I think clear is really the key here.
Agree.
And obviously, the smaller the ice, the more it is going to be diluted. So using a smaller one versus a medium versus a large, again, it's trial and error. For your sparkling, I'm using Fever Tree Club. So you've got Topo.
I wish I had a Q for this one because they were saying Q is the most carbonated.
Yeah, I'd be shocked if Topo is not as much. Topo is, as I've said before, to me, that's the most carbonated mineral water I've ever seen.
Any sort of soda is where you want to go there.
It almost looks like ginger ale. I mean, it's really, really faint in color.
Yeah. And then to highlight the citrus and fruity notes that are already in that whiskey, I'm going to use lemon for my garnish, but I'm actually going to do it intentionally right over my glass so that all the oils that are shooting out while I'm doing this, I sort of get the benefit of that on the glass and on the rim and in the cocktail for that matter.
And I'm wrapping mine around the straw just to give it a little shape.
I'm using my channel peeler. Look how cool.
So yes, and in terms of stirring this one, guys, a very light stir just to kind of, obviously mix the whiskey from the bottom, get the effervescence going. But guys, that's it. Again, we promise you it's pretty straightforward. Again, focus on the details. Japanese whiskey, a good soda, fresh citrus, and a really cold glass, and you're good to go.
It's nice.
Let's try it.
You know what I was thinking would be really nice in here also? If you had some of that orange blossom water.
Okay.
Some of this orange blossom water that's like in the baking section. I was thinking maybe like a drop. Now I should be using a dropper, but I don't feel like it.
Yeah, I think this is the kind of drink. I mean, it's a pretty blank canvas, right? I mean, you could bring in any number of bitters, and it would, I think, immediately change the profile. Whereas, some drinks, you've got some things working that the bitters just adds a little kind of small detail. I think bitters could actually make this drink dramatically different if you do it correctly.
Anyway, you could drink a few of these.
But really, what makes it different than the other drinks we make then?
Very funny. Okay, so for Thursday, we're going to go away from the classics and give you a crazy, weird, creative mezcal drink involving watermelon. So go either get a watermelon and juice it up or buy some watermelon juice.
And lime and mezcal. And if you've got some good fun salts you can do on your rim. But also playing off the same refreshing theme that we have this week.
Well, I think we have to go on a refreshing theme when it's 100 degrees outside, because it's quite literally 100 degrees outside.
It feels like 110.
So, see you then.
Bye, guys. Cheers, Rice.
Cheers, Jason.